Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all being here again. Got Western this week, and they're a really good football team. We had a nice game with them last year, so this will be a great challenge. They got a really good quarterback, the returning player of the year, all that kind of stuff. He's off to another good year this year. The thing that probably stands out to me as much as anything with Western Kentucky is, they're plus 12 in the turnover margin. They've only committed 3 turnovers themselves, and have gotten 15 on the other side. So they've done a good job protecting the ball. They're a very opportunistic defense. They're getting balls. They're throwing for a bunch of yards, not running the ball very much. They lost a really good running back in their running back earlier in the year. But this is a really good football team. Got good players on both sides of the ball. They're doing a nice job on defense. They're not giving up many points. I think they're 2-3 in the conference in points allowed defensively. And they're very sound in the kicking game. The La Tech game, the kicking game probably had as much to do with winning that game for them as anything. So Jeff has done a nice job. They're a very well-coached team. Got good players, but we're looking forward to the challenge.
What can you tell me about DeAndre Farabee, the running back who stepped in for Leon Allen, and he's a true freshman, or he's a freshman, and what has he been able to do to keep the balance on Western's offense?
I don't know how much balance they have run pass, because they're really heavy pass, and to me they run it to just keep you honest. But he's a good player. He's not like the player they lost. He's a bigger kid, bigger player. He's a downhill runner. He's a physical runner. Probably, they haven't utilized him as much in the passing game as they did the other one, but he's a good football player.
Will this be the toughest Western team you've faced since you've been head coach here at MTSU?
They're all tough. It doesn't matter who you play. It doesn't matter if it's Western or anybody else. Every game is tough. They're all good football teams. Everybody we play is a good football team.
Coach, Brendan Dowdy is top 5 in the nation in every statistical passing category. Is this the best quarterback you think you'll face this year?
I don't know who we face after this game, so I can't compare him to others. He's a good player. Obviously, he was the conference player, the offensive player of the year, or him and Cato last year. He's a good player. He's a really good player. So I don't know how he stacks up to the other quarterbacks that we're getting ready to play because I haven't seen him. So I just know he's a really good player. He can make all the throws. It's his 6th year. He's very confident. He threw for a bunch of yards against us last year. So he's a good player.
Talked about after the game the other day that you guys have to get better running the football. Where are the breakdowns on that, and what do you see as what you got to do to get better?
Well, Chip, I think I don't know if sometimes you got to give the other teams credit, and we didn't run the ball very good against Alabama, and they're the number 10 defense in the country and the number 10 team against the rush in the country. We struggled against Illinois. They're the number 21 team total defense of team in the country and number 33, I think, in rush defense. Vanderbilt's the number 28 team in the country, total defense, and the number 21 team against the rush. So sometimes, we've played a heck of a schedule so far with the teams we've had to play. And, Illinois beat Nebraska last week. And so to me, you got to give the other teams credit that we've played. We ran the ball pretty good against Jackson State, and we ran it pretty good against Charlotte. These other three teams are really good defenses that we've played, and we've competed really well. We had a chance to win both these last two games in the last couple minutes of the game. We didn't get it, so we just have to stay the course. We've got to stay patient and continue to work and compete and get better. I like our team. I love our team. You know, we've just played – the three losses have been three dead-gum good football teams, and we got good players on this team, and we'll continue to stay the course and continue to compete. So I think it's got to give the other teams credit sometimes.
Coach, what has Western done defensively that they've adjusted since last year that make them, you know, you mentioned the turnover margin. What has made them better this year on defense, in your opinion?
Well, you know, I think they got some new defensive linemen. You know, they got a couple junior college guys they signed. They got a transfer from UAB in there that I think they've gotten more depth up front. I think they're better up front than what they were. You know, their linebackers back. You know, Nick Holt, he's a good player. Their offense has jumped out on people early, have scored a lot of points that have made the teams they've played one-dimensional. And anytime you can do that, you know, it bodes well for the defense. So I think a lot of it, you know, they're better defensively, and then, you know, their offense has helped them make, you know, put that score out there pretty good.
Coach, the players were understandably so, they were shaken after the loss Saturday night. How has the last 36 hours changed that, or has it changed?
What do you mean by shaken?
They, you know, weren't in a great mood.
I understand that better than shaken. I don't think, you know, we've gotten hit in the gut, you know, 2 weeks in a row, you know, and that's a tough pill to swallow. You know, when you got a chance to beat a Big Ten team and an SEC team, and it's right there, and we weren't able to do it. So it's we got punched in the gut, you know, but it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down, you got to get back up one more time, and that's what we'll do. I'm glad we hurt. You know, that means, and I've said it since August. I said that I love this team. I love the character of this team. I love the attitude of this team, and we've got good players, and we're a resilient team. You got to stay. I mean, we played 5 games, and like I said, we played 3 really good. Our 3 losses are against, you know, some pretty daggum good schools. So we'll bounce back. We got another challenge ahead of us this week. Probably as good an offense as we've faced up to this point. You know, so we've got a heck of a challenge ahead of us, and but I know we'll be ready. We'll bounce back.
Can you talk about how fun the rivalry is? Because, it's been some crazy games last minute, and you've been fortunate to be on the plus side of that. But here you're getting back into conference play the rest of the year, and everything that you guys have been preaching, you still have in front of you.
Yeah, you know, you're right, Chip. We're in first place. We're still in first place in the conference, and you know, so we'll play this one, and but it's a good rivalry. It's you know, in most games, most conference games anyway, are going to be close games. But this one is, you know, whether it's been here at our place or at their place, most of the games have been close because I think we're both 2 evenly matched teams. And when you play teams like that, that's usually what happens. And but no, this is an exciting game, you know, for us. It's been a battle every game. You know, it's been tough physical hard-fought, competitive games.
I hope you don't hold it against me, Coach, but I'm a WKU alum.
Not everybody gets their first choice.
So I understand from a fan perspective about the rivalry. When it comes down to rivalries, is it really just a fan thing, or is there something felt in the locker room as well?
Is that why you have your red shirt on today? You know, rivalries, I think there is a difference between fans and players. You know, fans, you know, they do like to do all the talking and all that kind of stuff leading up to the game, the course of the game. With players, you cannot let a rivalry affect the way you prepare. You can't let it affect the way you play. We're going to be just as intense and ready to play this game emotionally and physically as any game we play every year or every week. But there is a little added juice. There is with the players. They get a little amped up because they know the history of this game. They know the intensity of it. They feel it. They feel the excitement of it. But you never, and I say it all the time, who you play doesn't dictate how you prepare to play. You got to get ready to go each and every week. So we understand it. Our players understand it. And we'll be emotionally and physically ready to play this game.
Does that make it easier for you as a head coach, you know, coming off the 2 losses that you are playing, I would assume, your biggest rival?
You know, I think our players are just, like I said, this is a special team. There's something special about this team. And I think it starts with their character. And I know we've had 2 gut-wrenching losses, but now we're in conference play, and I think we would be ready, just as ready to play this game against Western Kentucky had it been if this was Charlotte this week, because of the importance of being a conference game. And again, we just try to focus and worry about ourselves and correct our mistakes. But I think just being a conference game will make it easy for our players to flush last Saturday's game, flush it, and get on to this one.